Hi friends, we are going to talk about drawing pumpkins because it's the pumpkin time of year, right? So I'm going to draw on this big whiteboard and you can practice on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be super big, but if you have big paper and you want to use that, that's great. If you have small paper and you want to use that, that's great too, whatever size paper you want to use. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to draw a pumpkin, okay? Because pumpkins are all different shapes and sizes, right? If you get pumpkins each Halloween for your house, then you already know that. Or if you just see them out, you know, sometimes they're goofy looking, aren't they? Sometimes they're all bumpy and, I mean, pumpkins, a lot of times when we draw them, you know, a nice circle. But, I mean, that's rarely how pumpkins look, unless we're talking about those little ones that grow just like that, right? But as they get bigger, they get kind of bumpy and they get more ridges in them, right? So there's no wrong way to draw a pumpkin. That's basically what I'm saying. So I usually start with some bumps because I like to make sure those ridges are evident. So one bump, two bumps, and then and see, I'm making oopsies right away. And then on the third bump, I'm going all the way down to the bottom of the pumpkin, okay? And then I want to put a few of those bumps on the bottom too. So that one turned into the first bump on the bottom, and then I made one bump, two bumps. And here you can make a decision if you want to make a really wide pumpkin. Maybe you want it to have lots and lots of bumps on the bottom, like this one. You know, some pumpkins are really short and stout, short and squat like that. And then, you know, some you might only see two, or maybe sometimes a pumpkin comes almost to a point, you know, or maybe point's not the best word, but you know what I mean? Not every pumpkin is going to have those visible bumps on the bottom. But this is just how I like to draw them. So I usually will have these bumps shown. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to come back up. I'm going to go one, and on that second one, I'm coming all the way back down and make one more here. Okay? So at this point, if you're looking at your pumpkin and you think, you know, I want to make, if you're drawing with a pencil, you could say, I want to make these even more evident. You could go in and make your bumps, you know, higher and deeper, and that makes them more visible. Or you can leave it the way that it is. I'm going to add a stem, even though a lot of times when I get a pumpkin, the stem comes off. But I like to add the stem for art, right? So here's my basic pumpkin, okay? Now, if you were doing this with paint or with crayon, I would say do this in the color that you're going to make it. So if it's an orange pumpkin, then I would draw the pumpkin in orange. And then if let's say you drew it like this, and you think, that's not really what I wanted it to look like though, okay? So now I feel like I messed up. I'm just gonna crumble it up and throw it away. No, that's not what we're gonna do. If you do this in the color that you're making it, just leave this right here and go a little bit further out and then make it bigger, make it the size that you want it. And as you color it in, this will all be covered up. Okay? So there are no mistakes in art. That's, you know, you're always learning, and anytime you make a little oopsie, you know, you've learned something there. Okay? So try to go slowly And like I said, practice a couple times. Think about if you are going to make it orange, or maybe you want to make one of those green, more of a gourd. I mean, a pumpkin is a gourd technically, but you know, you could do one of those sort of olive green looking ones. You could do, I mean, there are white pumpkins out there, right? I don't want you to just leave the paper white though. That's the trick, because your eye can really find that naked part of the paper. So if you're gonna make a white pumpkin, make it a white pumpkin, okay? So now, after you've got your pumpkin drawn on paper, and maybe you wanna have a piece of paper and practice and make some that are tall and skinny, or maybe you want a pumpkin that's a little lopsided. I've seen those guys too, right? Or maybe you want to make a few that are little but cute. Maybe you want to make a paper full of pumpkins. That's cool too. But just practice. And after you've drawn all of those pumpkins, I would love to see you work on coloring it in. Now, here in the art room, we used watercolor crayons, okay? You don't absolutely have to use those, but they are fun just to test out. These are ours, and they just look like normal crayons, but then you can go over what you've drawn with a wet paintbrush, and it sort of turns to paint right before your eyes. But the thing that is kind of interesting is that you can also do something very similar to that with washable markers, because they are affected by water. You can draw with these and then use a wet paintbrush and watch that ink sort of turn to paint as well, okay? So, my Discovery friends, because I know some of my friends that watch these videos on YouTube aren't actually Discovery friends, and that really makes me so happy that you guys like to watch and just, you know, do the art that we're doing, or just kind of check in and see what's going on here. But my Discovery friends, if you want to ever use some supplies that we are using here in the art room and you don't have those at home, you or one of your grown-ups can send me an email and just say, hey, I would really love to use some of those supplies, and I will make sure that some are left for you in the lobby, or I could even bring them and stuff them in your mailbox, you know, or somebody can pick them up. What I'm saying is we will get them to you, okay? So don't feel like you can't do something just because you don't have that. And don't feel like, you know, well, I don't really need that. I guess it's okay. It's okay. I guess I'll just... Okay? If you want to try the watercolor crayons, then, you know, send me a message and I'll make sure that you get some. Okay? Because these are your supplies too. This is your art room too. This is not my art room. This is our art room, and these are all of our supplies. Okay? So, my friends that do art here in the room, I would like to show you the mess that they have made. This is just half of it, really, because I've already cleaned up quite a bit. The things that would have dried out, you know. We were using glitter glues and shimmery glues, and we were using yarn for hair and paper scraps to make faces or hats. We used tissue paper which this is just like the gift wrap tissue paper that you put in a gift bag for somebody's birthday or whatever. We also used scrapbooking paper. It's basically whatever, you know, our friends wanted to decorate their pumpkins with, that's what they used. So after the pumpkins were colored in, the next time they came to art, this is how the other kindergartners decorated their pumpkins. Some made faces, that it's a very clear face, you know, sort of like a jack-o'-lantern. And then some did arms and legs, or wings. And some of our friends just really wanted to play with that glitter glue. So we just had fun, because sometimes art class is about experimenting with the supplies. You're learning how to use them. The glitter glue was put into all of these little cups and brought to different tables. We also just had regular glue to use, because not everybody wanted to use that for everything they wanted to glue, you know. And some of our friends were learning about using the glitter glue with a glue brush and realizing that it's not paint, okay? So this was our first time using what we call a messy mat. This is just a big piece of pink construction paper, and I chose pink because it was the one that I had the most of. No other reason than that. I just had a lot of this color construction paper. And when I get it out, I just ask that our friends don't cut this paper, because it will be used again and again and again. And when our brushes were covered with a color of the glue, we just wiped it off on this paper. And at the end of class, we make sure that our projects aren't stuck to anything that they shouldn't be stuck to, because that can be an issue sometimes when you're using lots of glue. But and then I made sure all of the glue was put away. So that's what I mean when I say we're just kind of experimenting with the supplies. Sometimes you might get done with a project and think, you know, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. Or I've even heard some of my friends say, mine doesn't look as pretty as theirs or theirs. And that's not even the point. It's about having lots of fun in art class, learning something new, you know, and then when you move on in art, as the years go by, and next time these supplies are brought out, you'll think, oh yeah, I remember how to use those. And I know what not to do, and I know what I should do, and I know how to do this. It's sort of an experiment. Okay? So, does all that make sense? Sometimes I feel like I'm just rambling, but I'm really happy that you guys enjoy these videos, and I love hearing from you, and I love hearing from your grown-ups that you are really engaged in the videos. And I will do my best to post videos like this more often, okay? I had posted the last one of just, you know, the overhead drawing thing before I had seen the messages that some of my friends really prefer this kind of video. Okay, so I will do my best to make sure this is how we do art class from now on, okay? And remember, if there are any supplies that you want to use, you and your grown-ups can send me messages anytime, and I will make sure that it gets to you, okay? So, have fun, and I can't wait to see what you create. Bye, guys.